Hi, it's Dr. Steve Thompson. This is going to be your Chapter 11 ethics lecture. This is going to be a pretty quick chapter, as in the media is not necessarily directly involved in the criminal justice system, as in they're not practitioners, but where they are involved is keeping the public informed. And their choices on what to report, how to report it, what gets reported is really important in how the people in the community perceive crime, and a lot of times that perception of crime is inaccurate. A criminologist like myself would look at, is there more crime? If I were to look at the media, that's all they focus on. You think, oh, there's crime everywhere. In some places there actually is. With that said, the statistics may show something different. For instance, for the past roughly 20 or better years, crime has actually been going down. But the perception is that crime has been going up. So that's obviously influenced by the media. The media gets to choose what people see. Well, we've got a new phenomenon where less and less people, at least in my opinion, I haven't done any research on this, but I believe less and less people are getting their news from the media. They're getting it from social networking and so forth. So independent journalists will say, someone sees something on Facebook and they put it out. Well, that's having major ramifications. We're no longer limited to what a director who's really in the news media, whether it's a newspaper, basically anything except for maybe NPR, nonprofit organizations are there to sell ads. So whatever they can report to you that will sell the most ads is what they're going to give to you. That's just the way it is. Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, all of the above, they have no interest in giving you anything other than what will make them more money, unless they have an intrinsic ethical motivation. When I'm not saying they don't, I'm just saying, if you look at the media, it's usually not boring stuff they don't want to put on there. Oh, well, we caught a cop doing a really good job today. He pulled somebody over, was very respectful, gave them a break, gave them a ticket, whatever the case may be. The cop did a great job. You're not going to see that. What you will see, and that's on mainstream media, that's on social media. You go to YouTube, you're not going to see a lot of videos floating around about a cop doing it right. You'll see some, but really the focus is on the excitement of a cop doing something wrong. Oh, we caught an officer doing something he's not supposed to. So with that said, the media has now changed to a lot of social media. Ronald Green was murdered by police officers. That wasn't initially reported by the regular media. It was reported by somebody with a cell phone camera who recorded 9 minutes roughly of a methodical murder taking place and then put that out in social media. The world knew about it very quickly. Didn't need MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, the New York Times. Didn't need all that. And we didn't need them to choose for us. We were able to make that choice. Somebody sees it, they share it. Next thing it's got millions upon millions upon millions of views. So it's a kind of a pretty cool phenomenon that we can do that, and we don't have to rely on certain persons to choose the information that we get. So that's kind of my media. Like I said, this is going to be a quick chapter. The media, as far as an ethical obligation, they should be reporting the truth objectively without bias. And if you watch any news organization, especially one that's for profit, and I'm going to MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, all of the above, none of them are biased. If you can find me a biased news organization, you found a unicorn, because I have not seen one yet. If you listen to Fox News, they're going to be extremely leaning towards the Republican Party. If you go to CNN or MSNBC, you're going to see them more leaning towards the Democratic Party. They're going to find everything they can to find something wrong with the sitting president that is not their, that is basically not their, it's not the party that they want. For instance, I remember President Obama asked for spicy mustard, like Grey Poupon or something like that, and he was really, really criticized for that. So, because he asked for special spicy gourmet mustard, like he did something wrong. Is that really what these news organizations should be reporting on? And apparently it is, because people pay attention to it. Oh, he likes gourmet mustard. There must be something wrong with him. Switch it to Trump. When Trump eats fried foods, when Trump asks for an extra scoop of ice cream, he's done something wrong. They make fun of him for that on the other side of the, the news organization. So it's really, in my mind, it's an embarrassment on both sides. Neither one of them are doing anything or really care about anything other than profits, because Every 5, 10, 15 minutes, you got somebody selling laundry detergent or selling mattresses or whatever the case may be. So they do have an ethical motivation, but that is not always, they don't always abide by that. Sometimes the persons who fail to abide by that, as such as reporting what is considered to be untruthful, for instance, the Alex Jones, the CEO, the talk show host, has been removed from numerous platforms with videos, and he was sued for the lies that he told about the Newtown, Connecticut shooting, saying they were crisis actors. It resulted in the families of dead children getting death threats, and people thinking that they were lying. He has been sued and lost those lawsuits, at least 2 or 3 of them so far, in order to pay in the hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. So he's, obviously he's, not only did he have an ethical obligation to report the truth, he's now in trouble for not doing that. Just some examples of it. And they've sued Fox News. They've sued, I believe they sued CNN as well for telling lies about people, and they face defamation suits. So, but if it sells, they're gonna keep trying it. Well, my point is it's an ethical obligation to avoid bias. Most people don't trust the mainstream media. I'm one of them. I don't believe they're just out there blatantly lying. But the methodology used, for instance, if I watch all the news organizations just to try to put it together and get some type of sense of understanding of what is actually happening, because one will report it this way and another will report it another way. So, I try to watch each one. For instance, I've seen Tucker Carlson. He's a famous Fox News host. And there's another, I kind of his counterpart at I think it's CNN, but I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Well, I won't even use Tucker Carlson's name anymore. I'm going to use Fox News versus CNN. And if you watch either one of these, if they have a problem with something, or want to call attention to something or say that it's bad, for instance, they won't go up and say, well, you're a child molester. They'll say, and I'm exaggerating here, please understand this, but they won't say that you're a child molester, but they'll ask questions about being a child molester. They'll ask questions like, how do we know you're not a child molester? How do we know you're not a bad person? How do we know you're not doing this? If you want to answer the question, we can ask this question of, well, if we don't know, we have this question in our mind, and I guess that sells. But on either side of it, I want the truth, and I want logical information. If you have questions about something, I don't think that is effective reporting of the truth. But it must be entertaining, because a lot of people watch both sides of this, millions and millions on each side. I watch it to learn the methods used, but I feel like when I'm finished watching it, I didn't really learn anything. We have a huge bombshell of this happening. This is more of a CNN side. Donald Trump did this. Rudy Giuliani did that. We've got a huge bombshell. And then you listen to what they say, and it's not a huge bombshell. It's just some, we'll say, general information. It could mean something, it could not mean something. But we have questions about it. So everybody, I guess people who watch the show walk away realizing, well, there's questions about it. Maybe there's some truth to Pizzagate. Maybe there's a child raping pizza establishment in New York City that's run by Hillary Clinton, and maybe that's real. And they go down and it's in the basement, and they're killing children down there. And then people go there and shoot with a gun and try to rescue the children. That's how crazy this stuff can get. So anyway, I think both sides are basically trying to manipulate. I think it's up to us as citizens to say what is rational, what words are actually being used. Because when Alex Jones called people, he said these people are crisis actors, or he believes that they are. I think he stated it as fact. The Newtown shooting was a hoax. Those statements of facts, they have accountability. But if I were to say to any of you in this class, well, I don't know if you robbed a bank or not. I have questions whether you robbed a bank or not. Well, nobody's answered those questions yet, because I haven't even talked to you and asked you if you robbed a bank, for instance. But we have those questions. So is this person really a bank robber? I didn't call you a bank robber, but I suggested it. I have questions about it, and there's really no liability for that. It's but if you listen to the words, it should, lead a rational person to believe, well, we don't. This is garbage entertainment, and we're not learning anything about at least the news on it. Just a quick comment before we wrap up on the media projecting people of color as the majority of criminals. If you turn on the media, you'll see the pictures of black people, people of color who committed a crime. It's sensationalized. And I'm not saying that they didn't commit a crime, I'm just saying, it's there. There is a statistical greater likelihood for a person of color to be arrested for a crime. And a lot of people would say, well, that means they commit more crimes. Not always the case. For instance, the crime of drug possession. More white people possess drugs than people of color on a percentage basis. So a greater percentage of white people possess and use drugs than people of color. But people of color have a greater chance of being arrested for it. And I'll let you draw your own conclusion on why that could be the case. But since the elimination of slavery, law enforcement has been used on some level, especially right after the Civil War, to say, okay, we can't have slavery anymore, but we need to control the black population. And at the time they said, well, they still really need slaves, but we're not allowed to have slaves, but we can arrest somebody, convict them with no evidence at all, turn them into slaves of the state if they're incarcerated. And that was allowed to go on for a long time. Now, we obviously don't have that in place today, but with the enforcement and with the the drug war that said marijuana is a Schedule I drug, it's a felony above a certain amount. The odor of it is easy to detect. So if you want to focus on poor communities, which are statistically greater to be communities of color, that's a legal way, technically, to take a law that doesn't say it's supposed to be enforced upon people of color and enforce it upon them. And then, of course, the media will post those pictures and sensationalize it. And if you watch the news and look at the pictures, you might get a skewed sense of reality of what's actually happening in the community. Not only based on the pictures, but based on what's reported by the media versus if you actually look up at the statistics, which most people are not going to do, and I understand that. I don't look up the statistics for things I'm not interested in. What a doctor figures out is best. I'm not going to look up the statistics for that. I'm just going to trust the doctor. I guess my point being is nobody wants to trust the criminologist. And now it's to the point where people don't want to trust the doctors anymore either, who are the experts in the field. But, when their car breaks down, they will still call their mechanic. They won't look at the car and go, oh, well, I can fix that and I know how to do it. They need their car running. So when it really, really matters, they will go to the expert, car mechanics, plumbers, electricians, and so forth. Or they can try it themselves, it won't work, fix their pipes, they'll leak, or fix their electrical wires and they'll electrocute themselves, hopefully not. So, all right, that's all I have for the media. We'll see you in chapter 12.